Welcome to KSR Data Vision YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about the top 25 questions that keeps repeating in every interview. Now, if you are applying for a data analyst role or a Power BI developer, SQL is something which you will be tested initially. Every interview starts with SQL. So it is best practice to know how to answer and how to present the answers in an interview. Remember one thing, SQL will be the fuel where you can start impressing the panelist. So the way you answer SQL questions will keep up the expectations and which will be taken forward. So please concentrate on these questions, and not only the questions, how you have to present it. That is very important. No one is expecting a book definition or an internet definition. Everyone expects in terms of the work which you have done and the way you have presented to the panelist. So what we have done in this video is we have categorized into 4 parts. Every interview starts with the basics questions, and then they'll if you're answering everything, they'll go to the next step. If you're answering even that, they'll go to the advanced level. And nowadays, even during this offline, like in the video meeting, they're asking to share screen and they're asking to write the code. So we will discuss about the few coding questions in SQL as well. So in this approach, let's go with first basics. The first and foremost questions you can expect in interviews: what is DDL and DML? Now these two are very key important factors to know. It is defined as the data definition language and the data manipulation language. Now, when you say the data definition language, it becomes the commands where you try to change the structure of a table. You're trying to work with the structure of a table. Example, create table, drop table, alter table. So what exactly is happening in these 3 commands? You're changing the structure. That structural change is called DDL commands. Now coming to DML, we try to insert the record, we try to delete the record, we try to update the record. So we are playing with the data and not the structure. In this case, it is called data manipulation language. And the one major difference is you need to tell is DML commands can be rolled back, whereas DDL commands cannot be rolled back. This is an important point, you need to add it. Now, in order to explain in the interview, tell them that DDL is a structural change, DML is a data changes, and give an example. What are the commands you get in DDL? What are the commands you get in DML? Like as I said, alter, create, drop comes under DDL, insert, update, delete comes under DML. And then tell the most important difference, that is rollback, right? Now, coming to the next follow-up question, if you have answered well, or if you have missed some of the other point, the next follow-up question will be, what is the difference between, either they can ask you truncate versus delete, or delete versus drop, or drop versus truncate. So I will give you all 3. Based on the questions you get, please tell the answer. Now coming to the truncate. Truncate is a command which is a DDL command which cleans the complete table. You're not going to delete either one by one. The complete table will be cleaned. It's a DDL command. And in fact, if you go with a truncate, the columns which you have already created, that will never change. Only the complete table will get cleaned. So you will not be able to delete one by one, but you will be able to delete the complete records. This becomes truncate. But since it's a DDL, you cannot roll it back. This is the first point. Come to delete. Now delete is a DML command. Now what happens in delete is, by using the where condition, you can select which are the rows to delete and which are the rows to exclude it. So it's in your control. Either you delete the complete table by just excluding the where condition, or by giving the where condition, you can limit the delete statement. Now in this case, the delete is a DML and can be rolled back. Can be rolled back. If you delete also, you can still retrieve it. Now coming to the drop, the entire table along with the structure is dropped. You can never get it back again because it is also a DDL. Once you drop it, it's gone. And in fact, if you drop it, the table structure is also gone. That was not in the case of truncate. Now, I can say most of the SQL code depends on group by conditions. So always the data will be like one entry, one transaction per one entry in a table. That's how we store the data in the table. Now there could be a situation where you have been asked, can you give me the total sales by country, total sales by product, total sales by customer? In that case, the group by becomes an added advantage code for us. So what you have to tell is, what is a group by? When is a group by used? Group by is used to get the records aggregated at a feature level. Give an example. Let's say we want to find out total sales made by each and every country. Australia, this much. India, this much. UK, this much. So if you want to get it in aggregated value, we usually go with group by condition, group by query. Now, the next question you will get is, what is the difference between a where clause and a having clause? Now, this is a very important question that will be asked in almost every interview. The way you need to answer is, where condition can be applied to filter the data on the existing column of the table. Let's say in your table you have country, you have time, you have date, you have location. You can just write where location equal to India, where state equal to Andhra, where state equal to Karnataka. You can start writing the filters, but it should be on the existing column. Now coming to the having clause also filters the data, but it will not be on the existing column. It will be on the aggregated column that you have implemented. For example, select country, comma, count of transaction. This count of transaction is an aggregated column. This is a new column you are adding to the query by taking count. This is an aggregated value. For this, if you want to filter it, having is the only possibility you can use it. So remember, having is used to filter the aggregated column, whereas where clause is used to filter the actual column. If you tell the sentence, you will be selected. Now coming to the, what are the aggregate functions and scalar functions? If you see, the functions like minimum, maximum, average, sum, count, all this becomes aggregation. Either you're counting it or you're summing up. When come for scalar, the functions like extract, I can call it as length. You find the length of it will calculate the length for all the values. When you go with extract, for every row you will be finding the extract. So this type of functions are called scalar. So give an example when you tell what it is. Now, the most important part is, whenever you're doing any joins as such, what happens when you're joining two tables? We are joining a customer table with the order table. Suppose if the customer has not purchased anything, then what happens in the query? All the values will be replaced by null because we don't have order. Now nulls are always disturbing for us. So what we can do is, we can use something called Coalesce. So what is this Coalesce function? So Coalesce function will replace all the null value with a default value called 0. I know he has not made any sale, that's why it is null. So why you want to replace with null? Replace it with some number 0. If it is 0, I can clearly say it as this person has not purchased anything. Now why this function is required is, let's say if they're not purchased, the sales made will be 200, 300 null, 200, 300 null. The null is nothing but these customers have not purchased. If you take an average, do you think you can calculate an average for a null value? Not possible. So if you replace with 0, definitely you can go and take a average. So this function is very useful if you want to take an average for a column which is having null. You replace it with the whatever default value you want, and then you can apply the function. So this is a Coalesce function. Now whatever questions has been discussed here, this is a basic level. Once you answer this, the next will be the next level of questions. This could be one step tough. I mean, say tough in the sense it could be the next level. To start with, they'll ask you what are the constraints. The constraints is something which you put restriction to the tables and columns. Now what are the constraints available? You have primary key, foreign key, you have default, you have check, you have unique. All these are the constraints. Now when they ask you about the constraints, start giving an example. Let's say there is a table and you have all the employee ID. It becomes a primary key, and these employees could be part of many departments, and that can be a foreign key. Now coming for unique key. Unique key is just similar to a primary key, but the only thing is it accepts null value. The best example is you can give phone number. Phone number, if you give, it should be unique. But what you can do is you can avoid giving it. If you're not interested, you can avoid giving it. In that case, what happens? It can accept null values. Now, whenever you give an example, also please tell the important point. Primary key cannot accept duplicates. Primary key cannot accept null values. Foreign key will be a reference of a primary key which can accept duplicates, which can also accept null values. Coming to unique key. Unique key is basically a key that will be again like a primary key but will accept null values. The best example I can give is phone number. Now whenever you are giving an example, that will create a good impression for the panelist. They assume that you have worked on all these functions. Now the next question is a unique question that will be asked, like how many primary keys and foreign key can be in a table. You can have as many as unique key in a table, but there can be only one primary key in a table, and that primary key can be a combination of a single column or it can be a combination of two columns. That is up to us. It can also be called as a composite key, but remember one thing, there can be only one primary key in a table. But you can have n number of foreign keys, you can have n number of unique keys. So remember this point, this is very important. Now coming to joins. So joins are the major concept of SQL. Definitely this will be tested in every interview. Suppose you want to get the data from multiple tables. So joins is the only way you can achieve this. Now what are the types of joins available? We have inner join, we have left join, right join, full join, cross join, self join. These are the 5 joins which you will be having. Now whenever you explain joins, my request will be try to explain with an example. Suppose if I was a candidate, I'm giving an interview, I'll take an example of customer and I'll take a order as a second table. Now if I want to see the records who has actually purchased it, I will go with the inner join. So what inner join will do? Inner join will combine 2 tables based on a common column. Now by using inner join, I may miss some records. I may not be able to get the records which are there in A table or the records which are there in B table. Sometimes you may not at all get it. Why? Because you're concentrating on only on the customers who has purchased, which is the matching records will come. That's an inner join. Now the second case, let's say I want to display all the customers. Those who have purchased it, let them get the order ID. Those who have not purchased it, forget it. I can get null values. In this case, the preferred join will be left join. So what is the left join definition? The left join will display all the records from the left table and the matching records from the right table, and the rest of the values which is not present in the right table will be replaced with null value. Now coming to the right join, this is exactly the opposite. When you go with the right join, all the records from the right table will come, the matching records of table left will come, and the rest will be 0. When I say 0, it will be null. You can replace it with 0 as well. Now, coming to the full join. So full join is a very unique way where you can get all the information from table A, all the information from table B, and all the information regarding the matching records. You can achieve everything in full join. But usually this is something which we avoid in the application because the table size keeps on increasing. And coming to the fourth join, which is a self join is responsible for when you are joining a table with the same table. You have only one table, you are applying a join on the same table, it becomes a self join. And one more join is there, which is cross join. Cross join will be, or a Cartesian join will be, the combination of left and right. For every record of table A, with one record will be matching with all the records in table B. Again, this also leads to a multiplication factor and your table size will increase. So these are the joins. Now, whatever I was speaking in terms of a tables, different tables. But now what I can do is, when you're applying joins, it can be a different structure. One table can have 12 columns, one table can have 5 columns, one table can have 2 columns. Never mind how many columns are there, but there should be a one common column between all these tables to apply joins. Now let's say about union and union all. Suppose you have a data, quarter 1 data, and you're appending with quarter 2, you're appending with quarter 3, or I can put it as a January records combining with February records combining with March records. So I have a fixed tables that I want to put in everything into one table, row by row. Remember this, row by row. In that case, I will be going with union and union all. Now when they ask this question, you can say it as union and union all performs exactly the same operation by combining the table records row by row. Union will actually combine 2 or more tables by removing the duplicates, whereas union all will include all the rows including duplicates. Then this is the first difference. And coming to the second difference, you should also say that union all performs faster than union. The reason behind this, for union, there's one extra functionality that has been added by removing the duplicates. So it will take some time. So the union all will give the faster in performance because it is just clubbing the table without even checking for duplicates. And you can also say, tell us what is a condition required to apply this union and union all. Both the tables should have equal number of columns and the data types of the columns also should match. You can see this. Now coming to the order of execution. This is a very important question. You will be having select condition, order by, limit, group by, all this you would have used. Now how the order executes is, first line, the first code will execute is from. Like from table will be there, right? That will be executed first because you need to first extract where is a table. So from will be executed. Then where condition. So where condition in the sense you apply any filters. That will be the second condition that will execute. Then comes by group by and having. If you have used any group by or having in your class, that also will get executed. And finally select will come. Whichever column you want to select, that select will come. And if you want to sort it, order by and then limit. So I repeat, the order of execution will be from, where, group by, having, select, order by, limit. Limit is basically trying to limit the records. Now this is a very important question nowadays. The panelists are asking in a tricky way. How many joins is required to join 8 tables? Okay, some people say as 4. No, it's not 4. If you want to add the complete tables involved, for 2 tables you can write 1 join. For 3 tables you can write it 2 joins. For 4 tables you have to write it 3 joins. So what exactly I'm doing? I am just doing n minus 1. So I'm just doing n minus 1. So if someone is asking 8 tables, you can just tell us 7 joins. If someone is telling I want to join 987 tables, so you will be telling 986 joins. So always it is going to be n minus 1. So remember this. This is very important. Now, this is about a mid-level. Now, once you answer this as well, you can also be asked some of the advanced functions as well. Now, they will ask you, have you worked on any window function or analytical functions? So what is window functions? In a complete table, you are working on a certain rows and certain columns. That becomes like a window. You're applying some functions for this window. It is called window function, or it can also be called as analytical functions. Functions like row number, rank, dense rank, lead, lag, all this becomes a window functions. Now post this, if you say that I worked on it, they'll start asking the question, what is the difference between rank and dense rank? This is a very important 100% question that will be asked. Now, let us consider if there is a marks that has been given to the student. Let's say 99, 98, 98, 97. So this is scored by student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4. The rank function gives us 1, 2, 2, 4. This is the rank that is given to this score. Now, if you see in the rank function, the rank 3 is skipped. Why? Because two people have scored the same marks, so the rank is skipped. This is what rank function will do. Now, coming to the dense rank, 1, 2, 2, 3. So even though two people are getting the same ranks, the next rank will be the consecutive number. This is a major difference. Please remember this. Okay. Now, they may ask you to explain with an example. Take a simple example of 4 students, 4 marks, where 2 people having the same marks, and explain this. Now, what you can expect is the next question, what is view? How it is different from a table? Now, slowly they'll be going to a bit of next level. So view is a virtual table which will not store any data, but it will store the query. So sometimes you cannot always go and load the physical table because of the size and because of the limitations of the data storage. So sometimes we may go with view. So view will be a query storage. It will not store the data, but you can use it as a table. This is a one major difference. Now, this is something you can tell it in one line with an example. Just tell it as a table where you have order table, customer table, and I'm creating a view by selecting the rows and columns, and I'm creating a query. That query will be stored as a view. Whenever you run a view, select start from table or select start from view, that record, the query will get executed and it will display the results for you. Now, what is index? I'll give you a simple scenario. Let us say there is a book. In a book, if I ask you something, what you will do? You have to go and search on every page. If I tell you one topic, you have to search in every page. So what happens here? You're utilizing more time. But what if you have an index of a book? You can clearly note down to the topic. You can exactly go to the page number 20 or page number 40 or page number 60, depending on which page you want to go. Index is very important in terms of searching. The same applies to SQL as well. If you want to search something, it will go and search in every row. It is having 1 million rows, it is having 1 crore, it is having 10 million, it can be anything. It will go and search every single record. It is going to full scan, which is going to take time. But what if you create index? So if you create index, it will get to know in which part of the index the data you're searching for is present. Only in that part, it will go and search. This will actually avoid the full scan, which will help us to give the record in the faster way. Index is a database object that can be created on a column in a table, which will be helpful for fetching the data in a faster way. Now, what is CTE? So CTE stands for Common Table Expression. Let us say you're applying some logics and the logic is a bit complex. So what you can do is, applying the logic, you'll put it into one temporary table, and that temporary table again you will use it like create table as, write some logic. Again for the next statement, create table as, write some logic, and finally you will join. Now what the CTE will do is it will try to avoid all these tables for an intermediate storage, and we can write one virtual table starting with T as, write some code, with T1 as, write some code. So this will be within that session, and you can use it for your bigger implementation. So CT is like common table expression which will help us to solve the code by writing it simpler rather than making it complex. This way you can explain it. Now, so far I've told what is SQL. It's a structural query language which we have many types of questions. Now, if you compare it with Java, .NET or Python, have you ever seen we are writing a for loop, while loop, if conditions in SQL? If you have not seen, then you know only SQL. There is a concept like PL SQL where you can use it as a programming language as well. You can start writing your for loops, while loops, ifs conditions, every logic when implemented. That is nothing but PL SQL. They will ask you what is the difference between SQL and PL SQL. SQL is like basic commands where we're trying to write the code line by line, whereas in a PL SQL, the code will be executed in a block of code. All the logics can be written in a block. This is something which you can say is as. When you're talking about procedures, functions, all this comes out as a part of PL SQL. Now this is all the advanced, and they may ask you one like use case of cross join. Cross join is like a Cartesian product. The best example I can give is, let's say t-shirt. You have three different sizes like large, medium or small, and you have three colors: red, blue, green. So what are the combination of t-shirts you can have? You can have large with blue color, large with green color, large with red color. Again, you can have medium with the blue color, medium with the green color, medium with the red color. So for every color, you can have three sets. So it becomes 9 combination. You can give this example. Cross join is a Cartesian join of a two tables. The best example I can give is, if you want to have a pair, you can go with this cross join. Now this is about the advance. Finally, sometimes nowadays they're asking to do a screen share and they're asking to write the code. These are the most repetitive asked questions. How do you find the third maximum salary? This is possible in many ways, but I would prefer to use rank or dense rank. By using the rank and dense rank, based on the salary, you'll be getting a rank 1, 2, 3, 4. On top of this, write a subquery and filter this rank equal to 3. You will get this. A number of ways to do it, but I would always prefer to use window functions because that has advanced functions which will help us to do. Now, how do you find the duplicates and how do you remove it? You have a very good way to find out. First, find out in a table what are the duplicates. How do you find out? Group by any ID, comma, count of star from table having count of star greater than 2. It will give you all the duplicates. Once you get the duplicates, it's very easy to delete by just using an in condition. You can achieve this. This is also important. Now, to come to a next question, top 5 states. This is, you can do it in 2 ways. One is, first select state, comma, total sales, sum of total sales, group by table, order by sum of sales. You'll get all the total sales made by each and every state, but you'll get everything. Put limit 5, you'll get top 3. Since you're ordering in descending order, the maximum will come first. You can achieve this. This is one way to do it, but also here also I would try to prefer by using dense rank or a rank function, which will rank based on the sales, and then on outer query you filter it rank less than or equal to 5. That is possible. Now coming to display alternative rows. So nowadays they're asking this tricky question. It's very simple. You take any ID column, put a modulus. When you apply modulus, if it is equal to 0, it's an even number. If it's not equal to 0, it's an odd number. Alternative records, you can achieve it. This is very simple. You can achieve it. Now, this could be a date column example. Like they may ask you who joined last year, who joined this year, who joined this month. Simply you can go and check which is a date column. On the date column, we have a very good functions like extract functions. I'm just using MySQL. In MySQL, you have extract functions. You can extract it and you can filter out which month you want. Or this month, the current system date minus 30 will give you the last 30 day. If they ask you last 6 months, just minus by 180. All these functions you can use it. Just one example, if you see, this will be a clear question. For all the coding questions, we will start creating a video one by one in the next few videos. So please subscribe so that you get the notification of all the code. I'll explain you every code in a simple way how to achieve this. These are all the most repetitive questions. So we will create a playlist for this. Now coming to the last coding question, which is a very frequently asked. They may ask you in a table, you have a manager information, you have an employee information, that everyone will be having an ID and everyone will be having an employee name, and they'll be associated with manager ID. Manager name is not present. Manager ID is present, but that manager is also an employee. In this case, the best way to do it is you can go with the self join. By using the self join, you can achieve this. It's very easy. You have to just join manager ID of one table with the employee ID of the same table. You will get that. Now, these are all the questions that will be asked in the real time, okay, in the interview. So take a look at it. Try to start with the basics, go in a good direction, explain them with an example, intermediate, advanced, and coding. Structurize this in your preparation. That will be your clear cut to clear the SQL interview. In a 30 minutes interview, they may give you 10 minutes for SQL. Utilize that. This is where your interview starts with. Crack it with a good confidence, and it will be a very good impression if you're answering well in your SQL. If you're answering well in SQL, then almost 30 to 40% of your interview is cleared then and there. Presentation is very important. If you explain in the same way which I did, definitely you will get selected. We will be uploading more videos. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed, and we will meet in the next video. Thank you all.